Today I am doing my first Sims gameplay video, actually my first video about video games at all as far as I can remember. I'm going to be doing the 100 Babies Challenge. Now when I first heard about this challenge, I thought that it would be pretty easy because I end up accidentally having families with 10 or so babies, which actually makes the game harder overall as I try to find people to pair them up with so I can continue family-style gameplay. However, I vastly underestimated the difficulty of this challenge and discovered as much as soon as I looked up the rules. Let's start with the objective. It is to give birth to 100 children in as few generations as possible. The challenge ends as soon as the 100th child is born, or if you fail the challenge for breaking rules. Now, this was the rule that showed me that things were going to be a lot more difficult than I had anticipated. Your matriarch may not get pregnant by the same donor twice. Once he has impregnated your sim once, he cannot be used again for more children. This changes something that is usually very easy, continually having children with one's sim husband, to something a lot more difficult, finding and courting a different sim every time, and excluding female sims, since as far as I know, EA does not automatically put non-binary sims into the game, and even if they did, I would have no way of knowing who could impregnate my matriarch. So to start out with, we create a young adult sim who we can refer to as the matriarch. This is one of the few times that we can pick and choose our Sims traits. My understanding is that we can't do this with their children. After all, it would make it too easy, and oh boy, did that rule make things a little challenging for me. I believe this is also the last chance I'll have to edit a Sim's appearance in whatever way I want during this challenge. I don't believe that's an official rule, but I usually restrict editing offspring to hair and clothes. While I'm going through my screen recordings from Cass, I'll go over some of the rules that don't fit naturally into the course of the video. Most of the rules I'll bring up as they become relevant throughout the course of this first video. We must play with aging on and set to a normal lifespan. This is going to be very different for me. I play with custom, extremely long lifespans. Auto-aging for NPCs is encouraged to ensure the game keeps generating donors for your matriarch. Any mods or CC that give you an unfair advantage over other players are not allowed. Mods that allow you to overstuff your household or gain money through child support payments are definitely not allowed. I was very strict with myself for this rule. I left out, I believe, all but one of my mods. The one that I kept in was Don't Do Dishes Where You Angry Poop by the late Scumbobo. I just absolutely can't stand how Sims insist upon doing dishes in the bathroom sink, but for the most part I took out every single mod, yes, including MCCC. And yes, this very much affected gameplay and helped me to realize even more how crucial MCCC, or MC Command Center, is to Sims gameplay. For example, I left off cheats that I cannot live without, cannot play without generally, by Little Miss Sam, one that automatically turns off a stereo in order to save energy, and one that automatically turns off a dishwasher. And boy, do my bills suffer as a result. Oh yes, that's another mod I left in for aesthetic reasons, is I play with brightness, although I think I still have like 6 lamps in my 100 Babies house anyway. I left in any and all CC that I use purely for aesthetic reasons. I can't imagine it any other way. Next rule, no cheats. The only exceptions to this are bb.moveObjectsOn for creative building purposes and cheating to resolve glitches. Simple enough. Moving on. Donors may not contribute to the household in any way. Your matriarch may not get married while she is of childbearing age. She may get married as an elder, but she must move out of the house with her spouse. They can't move into the active household. We have some fairly obvious ones. You cannot make more room in the house faster by killing off underage Sims or letting babies, toddlers, or children be taken by social services. You may hire maids, gardeners, and repair technicians, but you may not hire a nanny. You may hire caterers and mixologists, but only for parties. Since I have Vintage Glamour, I should mention this rule for people with add-on packs. Your matriarch may hire a butler, but the butler cannot look after the children. Let's just say there are a lot of barriers to the matriarch making much money in this game, so I don't think any of these rules are going to pose a problem. I think it's pretty obvious that since I'm going to be focusing on parenting, I should choose the super parent aspiration for maximum satisfaction points. I play with it very often anyway. It's easily my most played aspiration. So let's think about what else is going to be helpful. Family-oriented is an easy one. She couldn't get away from family if she tried. After that, I went with cheerful just because it's so much more pleasant to play Sims that have the cheerful trait and they find it easier to get along with everyone. I don't honestly remember why I chose goofball, but I guess it's better than some I could have chosen. Now we return to the rules. Move your matriarch into any lot she can afford with her starting funds. You may move as many times as you want during the challenge, as long as you can afford it without cheating. If a lot your matriarch moves to has existing lot traits, you may not edit or add to them. If your lot has no lot traits, you may pick 3 traits, but your decision is permanent. You cannot change them after. I chose the lot traits based on another rule. Your matriarch may register as self-employed or have a work-from-home career. I'm a little bit fuzzy on what they talk about here, so I've played it safe so far and have not had her get an official job at all. Continuing, she cannot have any job that requires her to go to a rabbit hole destination. She could not have a part-time job. So I chose lot traits that I figured were most helpful for working from home, especially with an unofficial job. I chose fast internet because, of course, that helps with careers like writing and programming that you can do from home unofficially. I chose homey so that cooking and such would be easier. And I chose lighting eventually because I figured that would help with painting, which is one of the best ways to make money from home in The Sims 4. Now we're off to find our first sire. I should apologize. Once I got into gameplay, I ended up using the in-game camera exclusively. For some reason, the videos came out really fuzzier than I had ever noticed my in-game videos being before. But yeah, so for the first gameplay session, which was several hours, the only screen recordings I have are extremely fuzzy. There are some technical insufficiencies that I pretty much have to accept or have decided to accept just because I have a lot going on in my life, none of which has to do with making much extra money. And my point is still, I would usually not accept having screen recordings that are that fuzzy, especially before I go ahead and convert them to a file I can edit on my Mac, and before I import them into iMovie, which for some reason makes them fuzzier than they appear when I'm simply watching them directly from QuickTime, or VLC in the case of .avi videos. So again, I apologize. I really hope that it'll be watchable. In between the time I started the challenge and the time that I am recording this commentary, I've had a second gameplay session during which I recorded using both QuickTime and the in-game camera for audio's sake mostly. There appears to be an improvement in quality, not just in terms of the fuzziness, but in terms of other things I've changed since my first gameplay session. Boy, I hope I'm right about that because obviously I haven't done much to edit those clips yet. Same, Israel. Same. So my first night, I went out to the Rattlesnake Lounge and was completely unlucky in finding a sire. Now I'm totally blocking this poor stand owner, Israel's business. While our matriarch, Lavender Finch, is trying to flirt with him, he's trying to call for more customers, understandably.
Vos, Miva Sabe, huh? Sepana Vinva, Barawa, Gurgadon Mashib.
Perhaps I'll have better luck with this guy. He does seem to be working in some sense, but at least he's not at work.
Schmezel Tombra.
Lamina, Yibs, Valmeep, Yibs, Fabici, Yibs. Oh, so.
Could this be the chance we were waiting for? It looks like people are starting to head to bed. This might not be the best space. My thought process was, hey, if you want to find a good guy, go to the library. But first of all, I'm not exactly looking for good guys, you know? And also, it never seems to work out that way in The Sims. I'm making a few adjustments to my house, some of the basic furniture. I just can't stand to look at it. There we go. Extremely classy. Lavender is already miserable, which does not bode well for our upcoming adventure. Well, hey, here's the welcome wagon. I don't know why it's only one guy, but in any case, it's Johnny Zest, disinherited-Landgraab, so at least we can relate to him on some non-elitist level. Wow, he does not like that I ended the welcome wagon early. We can still hang out. Okay, he's come back in. It seems like things are going okay. I've never understood why you can't so much as have your toddler sleep in the toddler's room of your parents' house, and yet people can come over and use your TV and computer all day and night, and that's socially acceptable. I was going to go out tonight, but I'm starting to think that maybe I can find my first father right here at home. Apparently he's left again, but is it real this time? I invited him back out with me, and well, I guess it's really happening now. A lot of the people who do this challenge really hustle to get the fertility reward right away. Now, as I was playing this game, I was thinking to myself, you know, it's so easy for Sims to get pregnant. I've never had a Sim not get pregnant when they tried, and it's so easy to get twins and triplets anyway. But even as I was thinking that, I was also thinking, hey, famous last words. Here you can see me starting to flirt more with this other guy, trying to line up a baby daddy for when I need to be pregnant again. Little did I know I was not pregnant yet and would need to meet up a second time with Johnny Zest.
Arbin do 4.
Yes.
Oh, you think I'm afraid of you? I'm not afraid of you. I'll have a baby by you, bitch. Rule: your matriarch cannot be a vampire. She may use vampires as donors, and I will, because I'm not afraid of Vlad. But any female vampire children are ineligible to take over as the next matriarch. This definitely gave me pause, but I was hopeful that perhaps they would not end up being vampires at all. In any case, you may cure a female vampire child to make her eligible again. Easier said than done, kind of expensive, but hey, I had to show Vlad who was boss around here. I started buttering him up, getting him ready for when I would no longer be pregnant. This strategy would become much harder as I started to have children.
Oh, yibs. Steve.
Thompson?
All droga.
I tried for baby again with Johnny and went back to trawling the streets for Dick.
Fumu. Kwazaru. Jongi. Tribna. Tunga choosing. Hunga.
I'd pretty well decided that my second baby daddy would be Vlad by now. I think I'm already pregnant in this screen recording. Wow, Vlad, unnecessary. I guess that's a little better, but okay. I'm still glad I won't have you around in my kids' lives. And here we are, little baby Guiderius. I can't wait to level up in the parent skills so I can, first of all, ask what's wrong and know what to do with the baby that way. And second of all, when I get to level, I believe it's 10, see what my baby needs without even having to ask. It's shocking how often it's make a silly face. Like you'd think it'd be mostly hunger needing to be changed, but no, apparently they love silly faces. I guess if I make that the equivalent of playing peekaboo, it does make a lot of sense in my honestly pretty vast experience with infants. Rule: babies cannot be aged up until you get a notification saying that it is their birthday.
Karzini!
Oh, thank God. Angelic is possibly the best trait a toddler can have. Honestly, it is pretty hard having to make do with cheap appliances, meaning that I have to fix them a lot while I'm trying to raise even this first toddler and set up my next baby daddy. Here we can see Lavender heavily pregnant with a child or children that hopefully will not be vampires. Rule: toddlers can be aged up when they reach level 3 in all toddler skills. Starting with the toddler life stage, it's important to keep another rule in mind. If parenthood is installed, which it is, teens may not be aged up and moved out of the house until they have an A in school and at least one character value within trait range. Your matriarch must always stop whatever she is doing and go scold/punish her children as you see fit if you catch them misbehaving.
Kimba Darfy. Delso. Tribs. Iba. Pongi de Fui Nudge.
Poor Johnny Zest. Poor Vlad, kind of. I feel a little less bad for him. I just know that if I let him come over, he'd be knocking my trash cans over. Fantastic, yes, of course. Feeling extraordinarily respected right now, thank you. I guess the one thing you can say is that this ups creativity, but of course I don't allow it to happen. Actually, what I do is I start by hugging it out, at least if it's a toddler, and if I can understand why they decided to misbehave, like if it's honestly kind of my fault that I wasn't able to get the sim over there to help with their basic needs fast enough. And then I go up from calm to firm, sometimes to strict. I don't really love yelling at children for example, emotional meltdowns. I find it very ironic to yell at children for having emotional meltdowns. And then when they become kids, I move on to punishing them once I've gone through the calm, firm, strict discipline stages. Rule: you may participate in holidays and create your own holidays as long as none of the traditions violate challenge rules. Feel free to edit existing holiday traditions to comply with the rules. Honestly, the last thing I want her to do is try to celebrate this holiday, but I am going to sell the gnomes. Lavender has been in labor for a very, very long time, and I want to try something. Yeah, it seems like the problem is that the crib auto-appeared in a place that didn't give her enough space to give birth. Okay, so it's a boy, unfortunately. We do need a matriarch to start over. Yay, looks like I spoke too soon. Well, hey, look what we got here. Twins, and one is indeed a female. However, I have a very bad feeling about it. The Tiny Traveler's CC bassinet appears automatically, I believe, just on account of I often use the bed set. But the fact that the girl arrived in a vampire bassinet makes me very, very nervous. Not because, it's not that I think that the Tiny Traveler's bassinet indicates that it won't be a vampire. It's that after automatically going to the bassinet, it went to the vampire bassinet. Yeah, I am not exactly optimistic that these two won't end up being vampires, and more importantly, that Juniper will end up being a vampire. We're going to have to go through a lot of work to cure her, if so, and I'm going to get the mom started on that right away.
Bentley? Oh, Fuma cobbler. Floima Sharnu? Ah, yoyim.
I very much recommend watching an entire flashcard session between a sim, adult, and toddler. The really weird ones are the number ones, but since we only have to get to level 3 with our toddlers, we're not going to be doing numbers at any point. I recommend it though, it's very bizarre to see what happens. Possibly I'm just easily entertained. Meet my next sire, Don Lothario. I mean, his name's Lothario, so I figure he's gotta be pretty slutty. Either way, I was able to complete enough whims and such to get the fertility trait. Yeah, it's been pretty difficult trying to get a prospective father into bed while I'm dealing with these children. Honestly, it's been hard just taking care of these babies to begin with. So, it came time to age up the twins, and yeah, they look just like their father. And I noticed in Cass, yes, they will grow up to be vampires, so fantastic. Hopefully I will have another daughter before it comes time to complete the curing process for Juniper, but yeah, look at this fucking kid.
Shy lead.
You know, just because a toddler says hi to you doesn't mean you've been invited to come into someone's house, right? Get out of here. Honestly, it just happens to have worked out this way, but it looks so much like Lavender is prejudiced against her vampire children. I just want to see how the view would be for this woman outside. Oh my god. I think we can choose aspirations. After all, it would be pretty weird if the matriarch couldn't choose her own aspiration, especially because she's not allowed to have a job, so we should be allowed to choose aspirations that mesh with that. Still, just to be safe, I am using a website to automatically determine the children's and teens' aspirations. I'm 2 behind schedule. Honestly, I think I just locked the door for everyone. Look, the reason why Paris is so angry is because he somehow got something with sugar in it. I swear I'm not neglecting him. Oh, okay. Okay, now you could judge me, but I am going to feed them. Thank God, the 3rd impregnation is finally over with. Probably.
A breen? Aww.
Excuse me? Taking out the trash? You're getting dangerously close to helping out, so get out of here. already gotten pregnant by you, I don't need you anymore. I can't risk totally cutting him off until I'm sure that Lavender is pregnant.
Lubo. Wyanuchi. Glenoho. Jerome. And boy. Boso. Risusa. Wano. Shopper. Sure. Shopper. Lumba.
I don't have to celebrate Winterfest, but honestly, I want the kids to have a nice time.
Oh. Oh.
Fantastic, fantastic. On the bright side, for every time I discipline them over this, I'm going to go up in my parenting skill. Yeah, hugging it out is the worst. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. I swear to God, I do not know why it is so hard for Father Winter to give kids gifts when they ask for it. He just sort of nods and smiles and nothing happens.
And Shrib.
Here are the rules I did not get to organically. All in-game rewards from completing aspirations and social events may be used, except ones that prolong your Sim's lifespan or save them from death. Children and teenagers can be aged up when they get an A in school. Young adults can be moved out of the house to make room for more children, but they cannot be moved back in after. Teenagers may hold part-time jobs to help support the family and bring in extra income. Now, I assume once these teenagers age up, even if you keep them in the home, they cannot have a job of any kind. Your matriarch may leave her home lot freely. She does not have to bring all her children with her whenever she leaves the lot. And your matriarch cannot influence the gender of her children. Avoid strawberries, carrots, pop music, and alternative music to avoid influencing the gender of unborn babies. I did not even know that doing those things would potentially affect the gender of the child you had. Alright, well that's everything. Hopefully in my next video the quality will have improved a lot. And yeah, thank you for bearing with me. Have a great day.